First off, thanks for tuning in and welcome to episode 2 of the Freedom Files. We're going to go over a few things today. I'll get into introductions here in a minute. I want to just say shout out to Last Call Brewing, where we are drinking their Vienna Lager. Very delicious.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, fellas. Hey. That is a tasty burger.
It is a tasty burger.
Okay. I want to go over the 11% excise tax today. I hate it.
You mean the sin tax?
The sin tax, yes. Yeah. And that's exactly what it was called, officially and publicly, the sin tax. I want to go over standard capacity magazines, which in California are known as high capacity magazines, and they're considered evil. And by the night's court ruling on that, we have Madman Mike here today, CCWs, and we're going to go over that as well. And we're going to have Jimmy talk about Freeman's 1911 topic. Today's going to be barrels and crowning. I got some gun broker stuff to go over today. And then I also want to give a happy birthday to one of our main men today, which I didn't bring my little card up here, which I wanted to show. But okay, so let's get started. So first off, introductions. Last time Jimmy Freeman was with me. I am Fred of Fred's Firearms. And now we have Mike Radford. Talk about Mike. Jimmy and I both know him very well. Mike's extensive history in law enforcement with Stanislaus County Sheriff's Department. And now he is a bureau chief of Post. He's done everything you can think of, investigations, tactical teams. He was at the FBI Academy. He's an academy instructor. He's currently a bureau chief, like I mentioned, for Post. He's the range master for Fred's Firearms. We've been doing this for years now. He teaches beginner, intermediate, and advanced. He's just an awesome dude to have.
Okay, SWAT commander. He was
SWAT commander. That's right. He was Jimmy.
That's right. That's right.
Very first. Dude, it's crazy.
Dude, it's your fault you passed him?
Yeah. Barely.
Whatever.
Barely.
I was the best. I was the best.
This is your fault, Mike.
I was the best.
Were you the one that I threatened? You were driving so fast in a neighborhood that I said, I'm going to give you a ticket if you don't slow down.
That wasn't me.
I think that was you.
You told me to speed up one time. No, that wasn't me.
Oh, that's right. We were going code 3
from the sheriff's office
and he was
all
out,
the way to Valley Home,
and he was going 55.
Oh, that's BS. I was not.
And I was like, Jimmy,
you say I drive slow.
You could drive a little fast.
It was my second day.
I know, dude. I remember being on a TO, and I'm standing at a red light, like no one's there, and my TO was all, just go, dude. Just go. Just get through the thing. Okay, so anyway, we're going to do all that discussion, have a little fun while we're doing it, drink some beer, and let's get into the discussion of CCWs. Or no, I'm sorry, before we do that, let me just go over the excise tax real fast. So the 11% excise tax, the sin tax, went into effect July 1st of 2024. We've had a couple quarters of the excise tax, and I'm very upset because the state of California is like officially making more money than I'm making now. So you look at something like a Glock, right? Whatever store you're at, however much you're selling it for, $4.99, $5.99, $6.50, whatever it is, okay? You, with the excise tax and then your standard tax, you pretty much need to add 20 to 22%, depending on your local community's sales tax. Okay. Rob Bonta, Gavin Newsom, all of our favorite people that are making our lives so easy in California. They call it the sin tax, and that's exactly what it means. So he's calling you a sinner. So in 2023, Bonta publicly announced that this tax is a good thing, and it's going to enable them to educate people about the dangerous people carrying firearms in sensitive areas. Those dangerous people are CCW carriers. So I don't really know if this is more or less of just a complaint or if we're just talking about this and what we can do, but I highly encourage anybody in your area to get a hold of your local politicians. Mine is Senator Marie Alvarado Gill. I've written her a couple times, and I've gotten some feedback. You know, she's got a good assistant, Caleb. You know, shout out to Caleb. He's a great guy. He gets back as best he can. But most of this came from Anthony Portantino, which was a Burbank senator, and now he is no longer in the Senate. So his term was over. Somebody else got voted in, and the rules and regulations still stand. So yes, I'm very unhappy with that. When you go to purchase a gun, just prepare yourself. Currently, it is being argued. The California Pistol and Rifle Association, I'm sorry, California Rifle and Pistol Association,
CPRA.
the CPRA, are doing a great job. So if you're going to support any kind of Second Amendment litigation place, it would be them.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. They're the ones that are opening up all these cases. And I hope that something happens with it. I hope that the federal administration now is able to regulate California somehow, somewhere. I look at California as like a spoiled brat that's out of control, right? It's just screaming and the parents aren't doing anything about it. It's making a big old mess, snotting all over everything. And it kind of makes your life hell as far as the government goes. So that's
Yeah, I think we even talked about that. It's the same thing. They're like the spoiled brat of the states.
yeah, they're horrible. And they're in control right now. They're like the little 3-year-old
Of modern times.
But anyway, yeah. So expect yourself. You come into a gun store and you're like, "Oh man, this thing's advertised for $599," and then it's $800 or $820 by the time you're all said and done, because you figure there's the firearms.
Not our fault.
certificate. Yeah. We sympathize with you on that. We apologize for that. So
I guess the biggest issue that I have with most of these taxes is there's no accountability and oversight as to where the money actually goes. As you're talking, I'm Googling and just kind of, I know that the tax was supposed to go to violence prevention, healing, school safety, and several other items. But the problem is it's well known that there's no accountability in most of the taxes that we pay as far as it going directly and completely to the cause that it's supposed to be taxed for. So I would venture to say, I'll be very pessimistic that you won't see any more money going to these programs. I personally think that this is nothing more than a way to, distract and prevent people who are already suffering or dealing with, paycheck to paycheck, types of finances to not buy enough or to not buy, ammo or whatever, which in the end hurts the dealers.
Yep.
Which in the end,
Citizens,
pushes them out of business. It's just a way to throttle gun ownership. That's all it is. There's no intent to help gun prevention.
no, there's not. And the gun prevention, as far as responsible gun owners go, the CPRA does this magazine, this Firing Line magazine. It's really good. If you guys haven't seen it, it's like Firing Line. And it actually published some pretty good information about statistics and CCW carriers and what crimes and stuff. And we'll get into that a little bit when we start talking about CCWs. But the money that's coming out, your DROS is the most expensive DROS in America. These federal charges are nothing compared to the extensive charges that California has. You've got a heavily staffed DOJ. And hey, if you're working for DOJ and you're getting a paycheck and stuff, like, nothing against you as a human being or a person, because I get it. We all got to have some place to go to work. However, the extensive regulations that are against a law-abiding citizen are not providing any type of additional. They're not stopping gun violence, right? Like the criminals that aren't coming into a gun store that are doing DROS, they're the ones that are committing crimes. And I get that there's a small percentage of people that kind of snap and they do that anyway. But again, It's nothing compared to the actual gun violence. So California has these huge gun statistics, but the politicians want to look at how much we've saved gun crimes from happening.
Yeah.
Well, if you keep following people that are following the rules and aren't doing it, and then you don't count the criminals that are stealing guns and getting them from over the border and making them in their garage and committing crimes with them, of course you're going to have statistics you can be proud of. So you ask any of these guys that are in the special SIU or investigative units, and they're finding all these ghost guns constantly, and they're finding illegal stolen firearms and firearms that have never been registered, So yeah, the excise tax is very upsetting.
When you look at the strictest states in the country, even cities, and they're the ones that actually have the highest crime rates and that continue to rise too.
Yeah, the gun-free zones
every
are
single one of
the ones that get hit. Yeah. Yeah, but that's my venting a little bit about the excise tax.
And we can definitely keep going on that.
I know. Yeah, I can go like all day on it. I just hope it goes away. More people that get educated on it, the more people that actually do write emails, that do write letters to your politicians, I think the easier it's going to be to argue it in court. And look, if you don't want to do all that stuff because everybody's busy, then throw a little bit of money. I think it's like $40 or something. I don't know if it's a year. I think it's probably a year, yeah, for a membership to the California Rifle and Pistol Association. It's not a lot of money, but they're doing a stand-up job. They're doing really good. So hopefully they have some pamphlets that I can educate people on. We had them in here before I ran out. I need to reach out to them. But okay, so you guys think of anything else we want to complain about as far as the 11% excise tax goes?
We could go for days on.
So a lot of stuff's happening. Standard capacity magazines, Ninth Circuit Court ruled 2 or 3 weeks ago in favor of the ban. Yeah.
Surprise.
Big
Surprise.
surprise. Well, it's only been like 8 years in the making, right? Everybody did it's the Freedom Week and then the Freedom Hour and it's St. Benitez, that judge in Southern California. So it's been a long time coming, and they finally just decided to hear this thing. One of the judges that was on the panel was so upset that he gave like a video. Of him in
I
his
saw
chambers.
that. That
Yeah,
was amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. Yeah, and he's like, I think you guys just don't understand, like this is a part of the weapon system. So
We talked about how that going through could end up banning practically the whole firearm.
yeah, that's a good point too. That's a good point. Yeah,
It was a slippery slope that they stood over. They went over that slope.
yeah. So the good news is, well, first off, the bad news is the Ninth Circuit just said no to it. So don't get excited about like, oh, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Yeah, it did. And guess what? It was a failure. But the good news is now it goes to the Supreme Court. And I don't know how long it's going to take them to review it. Like I always say in California, I'll cross my fingers, but I won't hold my breath because I'll turn blue and die. But I got my fingers crossed. I'm optimistic. If the Supreme Court reviews that in comparison to all other states, they're going to say you can't do that.
So, Fred, a lot of people may be kind of wondering. So, what's the highest capacity magazine that's allowed right now?
10 rounds.
So, some of the questions that some people might have, and as I'm sitting here thinking, are there weapons that say, like when I was growing up, I had a 22 rifle that was able to hold like 18 rounds,
like a Marlin Model 60 or something.
Are those allowed?
Yeah, they are. So there's a few exceptions to it. If first off, the magazine that is 10 rounds or lower, or the restricted magazine, must be detachable.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can't be a fixed magazine. And it also, if it is a fixed magazine, it cannot be a center fire. So basically with your 22 that you had growing up, your Marlin Model 60 or the others that had that tubular magazine that was attached, you couldn't take it off, and they held like between 12 and 15 and 18 rounds. You can still have those. Like you can still sell them. Like Henry's making the 22 that shoots, long rifle and short. There's a couple other brands that are out there that are making these fixed magazines. They don't come off the gun, and they're rim fire. If that magazine has a center fire, meaning it has a primer in a casing, so a bigger caliber round, then yeah, the magazine rule applies.
Silly.
Yes.
Silly.
Very silly. I agree. Lots of
give
silliness
me,
going on with that.
If you take, if Fred was to take, 5 high capacity magazines, but give me 10 rounders, I don't think that we would empty our magazines much different than each other.
The second,
right? It's
the second time they heard the case, man, like the first time in like, I don't know, 2016 or 18, whenever Freedom Week was, if anybody remembers back then, I remember I was getting like all these calls and they're like, you got any ICAP match? You got any ICAP match? I was like, I can't sell them, you know? Yeah, it just overturned. And for that 1 week, everybody could go nuts. And
well,
it did.
That was like a boiling a frog in water kind of thing slowly, where it was almost like a appeasement. Okay, we'll just give them this little bit for a little bit to stop bitching.
I think it was because like the state went to court expecting to win, and then they didn't. So you're like, oh my gosh. And everybody had at that moment the ability to go out and buy. And to give you a result of how powerful California is in the sales in California, you get these major distributors like RSR Group and Sports South. These guys got hundreds of millions of inventory from the manufacturers just stored, waiting to ship to the dealers all across America. They ran out overnight of their magazines. So hundreds of thousands of
that's
magazines.
California's.
I mean, that is the purchasing power of California. And when I talk to my distributors, they all talk about it. Like most of them are all out of state and they're all annoyed with California and the rules and regulations, but they all say straight up, they're like, you guys are the gun selling state there is in this nation. You always have been.
Well, if you bought something during Freedom Week, if someone was to pull, if someone was to be stopped or a law enforcement officer found someone with a high capacity mag, how can they tell if it was purchased during Freedom Week or not?
Correct. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, correct.
Carry your receipt around with you or
And then I think, I want to say it was like just before COVID or during COVID, we had a Freedom Hour or something where again, it was, the courts decided like, no, this is not constitutional. Yeah, what do you got going on over there? The court's not constitutional, or you can't restrict people from having these capacity magazines. So it was another one, and I remember talking to Soria about that because I called Soria. Oh, it was it was 2017. Yeah, because I was in that other little place, and I called Frank. I'm like, dude, why are there so many people calling me? And he goes, they didn't tell you. And then he sends me the court papers where all law enforcement entities, to include, it was supposed to be the dealers of firearms, received a notice from the DOJ or the Ninth Circuit or whatever saying that is no longer in effect and you must tell your citizens and your law enforcement officers. And guess what the DOJ didn't do? Big surprise.
Well, they forgot to tell you.
We forgot to tell you.
What was it, about a year, maybe a year, 2 years ago that something came out and DOJ didn't put it out to anyone? And we ended up finding out by customers and had to research it ourselves. Like DOJ was hush on that.
I remember.
It was another magazine thing. It was a magazine thing again.
If I was more vengeful, I'd remember that stuff. Yeah.
Huh?
Was it a magazine thing?
Yeah, it might have been the first
thing.
Freedom Week. Not the first, but it was actually the Freedom Week. I think it was.
Yeah, it was like a year, maybe 2 years.
So in light, if this goes to the Supreme Court, which I know that there's going to be holdups for it, but it's out of California's hands now. So it's no longer an issue of like, hey, when is the Ninth Circuit going to rule on this? When are these judges that we've been, trying to support and talking about, the Judge Benitez, I don't even know his first name because everybody calls him Saint Benitez, because he's the original one, I think, that was pushing this. Well, that's no longer. There is no more judges in California pushing this. California has now said, boom, we're done with this, move on to the next stuff. And we support the ban, and it's 10 rounds or less for a detachable centerfire magazine, and that's it. So let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope that the Supreme Court picks this up and reviews it soon, because if they do, I think we're going to get them. I know there's some other stuff too about assault weapon ban, but I'm not as up to par as I am that.
Well, it's scary because Colorado just upheld a assault weapon.
Oh yeah, that one's bad.
That one's scary.
That one's bad.
Scary.
I heard about that.
And
like
what scares me is these states, they feed off of each other and they use it as a platform. So as soon as one hits it, the others start.
And it empowers them.
Right? Yeah, it does.
Washington's got one, man. I had a beekeeper come in here the dude that he travels up and down and he just, puts bees in the almond farms and all that stuff. And he was talking to me, he's from Washington, and he goes, yeah, man, I can't even get a part mailed for any one of my semi-automatic magazine-fed centerfire rifles. So Washington has considered anything, Ruger Mini 14s included, as to be and this comes from him. I didn't look it up, man. So, I mean, maybe the guy was just like, I'm going to mess with these Californians, but I doubt it. I think the guy was sincere, but
Washington has been coming on pretty heavy.
Yeah, that Washington. Well, they just did the 10-round thing too 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was during COVID. They did that 10-round thing. They're also doing an additional weighting test on their. So, it used to be like you could go in any gun, you'd run the registration like most states. You walk out that day. Now I think they have a waiting period as well. All of our coastal liberal blue states. Yeah, like a cool off period thing or a wait period.
Well, dude, New York has a high capacity ban, and they are nuts. I read an article where a lady had flown to New York. She had brought her weapon the way she's supposed to, brought it legally, checked it, did everything she was supposed to. And one of the magazines was a high capacity, which was legal where she came from, right? It was absolutely legal, but they were like, that's illegal. Arrested her, took her weapons, put her in jail.
Oh my God!
Oh yeah,
I got mag,
dude. It was brutal, and it was just a.
So you hear that, guys? There are places worse than California.
Few,
yeah.
Colorado that one's getting.
So not too many, but
one thing we get a lot of questions on CCWs. Mike and I host these classes once a month. I know we don't do it very often, but we're both very busy. So we do between 25 and 45 students a month. And that's good for us. And everyone asks, can I bring a high capacity magazine? Does it have to be this and that? So yes, you can. Because if you have them, it's like Mike was saying, if you bought it from Freedom, we don't care. And the law doesn't state, unless they're going to rewrite it, to my knowledge, it doesn't state you can't possess or own or transport. It states that you cannot sell or transfer or gift or mail or inherit or any of that stuff on a magazine that's 11 rounds or greater. So yeah, if you got a CCW or if you're going to the range shooting or something like that, unless you're, range guys don't want you to have them there. And I don't know many of them that would not, but yeah, you can possess them and you can have them. You just can't trade them or buy them or sell them.
Yeah.
And no, you can't you're not supposed to anyway, go to Boomtown and then take them over state lines. I think that's a big no-no too.
Yeah. Well, they used to get crazy on that.
They got caught doing that. California did. Yeah. My boy Ron for the retired DOJ said that they were trying to get extra help to go over there and take pictures of license plates in California and
follow them back across.
Yeah. So, but
crazy.
They got in trouble for that. Yeah. They being the DOJ.
Doubt anything really happened.
So that gets us more into CCW stuff. We got a lot to discuss on CCW stuff. Let's talk about what just came out. Well, first off, let's talk about the process. So if you're in Stan County or whatever county you're in and you want to get a CCW, there's a few steps you need to take. One of them is got to have some kind of a firearm or a handgun that's registered to you. SB2 came out. There's all kinds of stuff we disagree with SB2. One of those things, and it's all in act now, the SB2 is fully enforceable. We just got the notification that it's enforceable. You used to be able to have husband and wife, spouses could put their guns on each other's permits. That's no longer the case. And that may or may not change, but right now it's in effect. You have to have your own firearm registered to yourself through the state of California. So that's one step right there. Make sure you have a firearm that's registered to you. The next step is to apply with your local law enforcement. So if it's a sheriff's county that you're in that's offering it, if it's a municipality and a chief of police that's offering it, find out from them what they want you to do and do it. If you're in Stan County, it's real easy. It's all online now. Everything's online. So you go to stansheriff.com or stanislaussheriff.com and then find the CCW icon that's on every page and just click it. It'll make you fill out your information and create a account through this third company they're using called Promedium. So you'll make your own Promedium account, and that's the application process. There's fees. I don't know what they are, but there's fees. And then you'll get through it, put all the information you want, self-explanatory. Now you're going to get appointment with the sheriff's office. And it used to just be live scan. That was considered your interview. Now it's live scan and an actual interview. SB2, you have to have a background investigator, a person that is an investigator that is assigned to you and has your background package. Once you meet them, they're going to ask you a few questions to move forward. At that point, you're probably going to get the thing here pretty soon. You're probably going to get an approval pretty soon. So then you can go to a provider, and we hope that it's fredsfirearmstraining.com, and you can sign up for a course. You will need that course in order to complete the process of your CCW. All right. If you're an initial, it's a 16-hour course. If you are a renew, it is an 8-hour course. If you're a renew, you've already been through all the stuff that I just mentioned previously, and you don't have to do all that stuff. So the process sounds complex, but it's really not. It's just getting online and applying. And once you get started, before you know it, you're going to be needing to take that class because you're going to be getting your actual permit. Once everything is done, your application process, your interview, your live scan with the sheriff's or law enforcement association or whatever, you take the course, you do the shooting, you do the administrative classroom stuff, you're all signed off, everything's done. Now you're going to get a certificate with the guns that you put on there, and you can actually carry those around. Now let's get into bumming you out and saying doom and gloom, talk about where you can't carry it. So I'll let Mike go over that stuff.
Yeah, so Fred talked about how SB2 came into effect. There's been a lot of changes. So if you go back, several years, used to when you needed it or you wanted to get a CCW, one of the things they would ask is, why? Are you scared? Are you there's a threat? What's your reason? And there had to be some sort of reason, but there was a case law that came out of New York, and that changed, meaning now, if you want a CCW, all you have to do is ask. And the state has to at least give you that opportunity. Now, there's still things that they could put in place as far as background checks and training and fees, et cetera. But no longer do you have to say, well, I'm concerned for my safety. I carry lots of money. I work late at night. So anybody can get it. So, and that goes to right now. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter if you're in San Francisco, LA, or here. If you want it, you can ask for it, and there has to be a process in place.
So it used to be purpose-driven.
It used to be purpose-driven. So now it's just interest-driven. But also what came was there was not as many places that would be prohibited. So used to, it was basically down to like any type of federal building and a school.
Yeah.
Right? That was about it. And I think once the case law that came that I talked about that said you no longer have to ask for permission or you have to show due cause, I think Fred and I talked about that I think the reason that case law came out, California kind of got a little upset and said, well, fine, if you're going to do that, we're going to put some heavier restrictions in place.
Is that the Buren case or whatever?
Yeah, the Bruin case.
Yeah.
So, SB2, which had been brewing for a while, they'd been trying to do this. The year before, they tried to do a sneaky little mid-session where they tried to do an immediate vote and put it in place. They needed 2/3 and they didn't get it. But we saw the writing on the wall.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's right. That was in 2022.
Yep. So we saw the writing on the wall. We knew it was coming. They put it back on the docket, and all they needed was, 50% plus one, which they easily got. And the first iteration was so restrictive, so draconian that it basically said, yeah, you can get a CCW, but you can only carry it walking down a sidewalk if you're not even near certain
you carry
places.
the privacy
it was literally
You can have it at your house.
It was literally that bad. But it was immediately challenged, went to federal court, and a federal judge said, all right, nope, this is too restrictive. And they held many of the places and said, nope, a lot of these are going to be held. You could continue to carry. Of course, it went to another judge here in California, which put some of them back on the restricted areas, kept some of them there, which is what we're currently at. and has now been codified by the Ninth Circuit in California, which is the highest court in California, meaning the only one next is the Supreme Court. So as we talk about some of the places that are restricted and some that are allowed, as we teach the class, Fred and we hear a lot of people say, well, why should I even do it?
Yeah, that's and we hear that a lot. Like, and it's funny too, because Mike's giving a speech and he'll be giving a speech during the class and he's talking about like, hey guys, and he's naming some of the places that you can't take it, right? He's like, you can't be on a public roadway. You can't do this, you can't do that. And people just stop and say like, wait. What am I getting this?
Yeah.
for?
What's the purpose?
Like, what's the purpose of this?
Well, number one, things consistently change. I can refer to it as a pendulum. Pendulum will swing far to the right, and then it'll swing far to the left, and it consistently goes back and forth. And I don't think this is any different. And I think there's just a good chance of it going to the Supreme Court, and many of these places being returned back to CCW holders. There's talk that President Trump is going to make CCWs reciprocal, meaning if you get a CCW in your state, it must be honored in any state in the nation. So there's still benefits in getting a CCW. And I'm always a strong proponent to say, I'd much rather have it and not need it, no matter how restrictive it is, than to need it and not have it. So if you don't have it, there's plenty of places that you're allowed to take it, that if you don't have it, you can't carry it. And a lot of the places are the places that you'll spend a lot of your time, such as private businesses, Costco, Walmart, Target, all of these places that most of us spend the majority of our time taking our family, going out, movie theaters, etc. So these are the areas that, if you really look at it, there's a lot of restricted areas, but they're pretty specific to, libraries and museums and
Any place with alcohol now.
the big one is any restaurant that serves alcohol, which is horrible. So used to it was just a bar. Now anywhere that serves alcohol,
so pretty much everywhere except a fast food place.
Well, think about Chipotle serves beer.
Yes,
Applebee's, bro. You're at Applebee's, man. Yeah.
Which is awful.
Taqueritas.
Yeah. So I don't know. Would that be deemed a restaurant, a taco truck?
No, taqueria.
Oh, a taqueria. That's still a
taqueria.
restaurant. I thought you meant like a taco.
But
truck.
that is a good thing if it's a taco truck and they're serving beer out of it and it's got like the little bench in front of it in that area. Would that be the area?
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Well, that's not an establishment. That's just a taco truck that's out in the community. I don't think that would be deemed. I'm not a lawyer, so don't hold me to this. But my gut would say no. Obviously, don't order a beer because regardless of what law goes, you should never drink and carry.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Not a smart idea, but still, I think it's very important to have it. I still think it's very much worthy. In the grand scheme of things, when you think about the cost to get it, the main cost is up front. Then there's every 2 years you got to do a renew. Think about it, folks. When we go out to eat once or twice in a month, how quickly do you spend more on going out to eat than you would for your CCW? It'll go just like that.
In some places, like 2 meals.
Yeah. Or if you go out with Fred and I, maybe it's
like
one meal.
Yeah. You could add a brand new gun. You could add ammo to go with.
So if anybody's watching and you're thinking, why should I think about what monies do you spend that you don't really think about, whether it's a gym membership that you never go to, or whether it's, I pay for Netflix and I never watch one episode, or, the multitude of things that we probably buy, we subscribe to, we splurge ourselves with, and, those are just for pleasure. This, if you think about it, this can really be a necessity.
A lifesaver.
It could be a lifesaver. Yeah. The chances of you probably getting into a situation where you have to pull, brandish, and use is rare, but it's not nothing. There's always that, as I said, Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
Chance. Yeah, exactly.
And there's plenty of folks who we've talked to that's had to at least brandish or pull it out at some point. And there's always
there's a few stories in there.
Stories that you hear.
They're glad they had it.
Someone has pulled it out and it's been used to save their lives or save the lives.
You
of
guys,
their family.
have you been up on this reciprocity thing with the feds? As far as like Trump said, like, hey, publicly announcing I'm going to do reciprocity.
No, I haven't.
So
when you brought it up, I haven't followed up on it.
I don't know. So first off, let me see. I wrote a little thing because I had to like look up like, what is reciprocity? So concealed carry reciprocity refers to agreements between states to recognize each other's CCW permits, allowing permit holders to carry concealed firearms in other states that have reciprocity agreements. However, California does not honor any other state concealed carry permits, and California permits are not recognized by other states. And I think that right now, California permits are not recognized by other states because of California doesn't want to play the game with anybody else. They want to say, no, we're tip of the spear. We're California. We're better than you, so you have to do our stuff. Well, here's what kind of makes me think is that earlier this week, I get an email from Calaveras County Sheriff's Office, which we're a provider of. And they're asking about our online portions because they are claiming that they're mandated to give out-of-state residents the option to apply for California CCW permits, which is crazy, So I just got that email this week. I don't have too much else to really offer on that. I had a slew of questions that I shot back. I'm like, hey, do they still have to have the same type of qualifications that the California citizens do? Is it the same type of timeline? What is offered? How are we going to give this? And yeah, absolutely, we can do some online stuff. But, we have a very brief portion of online training. Our training is primarily, at the range with shooting, especially with a new CCW. You're going to go through 250, 300 rounds. You have fun doing it. It's a good time. But California's upped the ante where when we started doing CCWs pre-COVID, it was 16 hours and it was 8 hours of range time. And now it's like that again, where the states kind of stepped in. During COVID, there was minimal hours, it was 8 hours, I think, for news and 4 hours for renews. Now that's all changed. So I'm curious about this reciprocity thing and how it's going to go through, because if you are a citizen of Florida or a citizen of, I want to say Tennessee doesn't have anything else either. It's like if you're a felon or not a felon, if you're not a felon, you can go into a PD or a law enforcement office and say, hey, here's my ID. I want the CCW application. Cool. Put your information here and here's your liability waiver. Boom. You're now blessed a CCW carrier. Go for it. And that's it. There's no shooting. There's no nothing. So if someone like that comes to California and there's reciprocity, or like California, we have 16 hours and we have a lot more. And it, how's that going to work out?
I wonder if they'll just end up making a one style, like a federal kind of mandate for
like
CCWs.
Remember in cops when they did the HR 218? Or was that what it's called? Yeah, it was after it was the Bush bill or whatever.
Yep.
Remember that?
The Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act, yeah. And they did that blanket HR 218 thing where, if you're a cop and your agency doesn't support this, guess what? HR 218, you're good. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Law enforcement, we were trained.
You're exempt and you do have training.
Right. You have training, but
yeah, you meet certain criteria.
CCW, that was like what you were saying, that would be kind of a different animal.
So another thing too on that, man, is the percentages. I'm always curious. What is the percentages of a CCW carrier in relation to any type of gun crime, whether it be brandishing or using?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you'll find that data if you read the preamble of SB2. Oh, there you have it. Well,
did it? They made it.
Well, yeah. I did read the preamble of SB2, which whenever there's an enactment of a new bill and new law, they usually put some sort of reasoning preamble, and kind of gives a description to say, hey, this is why we're doing it. And if anybody wants some nighttime reading to put you to sleep, read it. But some of the things that really stuck out to me, number one, is they talk about this empirical data that shows that right to carry states has seen this massive increase in gun violence. and which was the precipice for this whole bill to come out. But then, if you go into their study and you kind of read through it, it's nutty. And I'll give you a quick example. Number one, they'll say, what did they say? The road rage brandishing has tripled from somewhere from 250 to 600 within like 4 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, but what they don't say is how many of those are legal brandishings? How many of those are actual legitimate uses of visual force to protect themselves? They even mention a particular incident where I think a former NFL player, Joe McKnight was his name, where he was killed in a road rage incident. But if you read it, him and another guy are having road rage. They stop. This guy gets out, approaches the dude, right? Approaches him. The guy ends up shooting him as he was at the car door. Now, that's all I know. I don't really know right, wrong, or indifferent. But if you're in a road rage incident and then you get out and you approach that other car, okay, that you can't really say that the person maliciously and with malice and forethought murdered this guy. There's too many totality of situations that you could say, this person was in fear for their life. And not to mention when I think they convicted the guy, but he was convicted not by, it was like 10 out of 12, which was deemed unconstitutional. The guy ended up being released. So there's just, this data is flawed. They use it and they twist it. So I'm kind of going off, but they use these data points and
they don't
twist
put the
them,
whole thing
and they
out.
don't put the whole story. They just say, oh, look, the uses have gone up, but they don't get into those.
Okay, so Bonta said the same thing, right? So early last year, it might have even been late 23, after they, got the whole, they're celebrating. You go to YouTube and you can watch it, dude. It's gross. Anyway, Bonta said in an interview, they asked him, like, can you give us statistics? Because you said these people are dangerous individuals and they're carrying firearms in sensitive area. How are they dangerous? He's like, oh yeah. And so that whatever reporter did it asked him, what laws are they breaking? And he didn't say what laws. He said, there are plenty of legitimate CCW carriers that break the law. Do they not put on a turn signal? Do they, what's the law that they're breaking?
But what is plenty?
And what is plenty? Exactly. How many?
2 is a couple, 3 is a few, anything more is plenty.
Well, he also was saying that the CCW holders are vigilantes.
Vigilantes?
Yeah.
Vigilantes.
He did.
Yeah.
Vigilantes.
So,
and I think he's actually on
that was
record
Bonta
saying
so like Daredevil, like the Punisher.
That the CCW
we go out there,
holders
we
are
hunt
going out
people.
there looking for criminals to
this magazine. You need to get on the good article on what we're talking about now, because it's really good. It talks about CCW carriers. This is also national. It's not just California.
Yeah,
But it talks about the crime that's committed for a gun crime and all of the violence in 100%. This is saying that it is less than 0.03% is owned by CC. So it's really good as far as like statistics go,
which is low.
I would hope so. Yeah,
well,
that's low.
Especially when they talk about this rise in, say, brandishing or road rages, as in California, let's say in the last 4 years, how many CCW holders have been given licenses?
Yeah, I don't know that. I know like Stanton County has like a little over 10,000.
Has it doubled? Has it tripled? My point is, if it has, the use of a weapon will be documented, as the same amount it's been rising as far as the CCW holders. So, the more people get a license to carry, the more there might be incidences where they use it to protect themselves or to brandish it or whatever. So, yeah, the numbers are going to go up. That's only because more people are allowed to carry.
Yeah.
Well, don't let this discourage you. FredsFirearmsTraining.com. Get your CCW. You have a right to do it. Second Amendment.
Yeah.
I want to go over Jimmy's 1911 stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So, our 1911 expert over here, Jimmy. Last time we did this, you talked about checkering and the benefits. Strap. Yeah, front strap checkering and the benefits of having checkering. And if you were starting to do a 1911, and what are you going to talk about today?
And we're going to talk about just a quick little thing on like a deep crown on the barrel and the benefits of it. And because there are people out there that say, don't do it. It's horrible. It's bad. It ruins it. Bull.
Before you even get into detail about that, dude,
Oh, you want to show? Okay.
real quick, real fast, tell them what you're working on. Glock 19 slide right there, custom engraving by Freeman. All right. If you can show that to the camera. This is to come. I totally wanted him to have this done by this episode so we could like solicit this, but he takes forever. So
I'm working on the settings. It's the settings and it's the frame.
anyway, this is to come. I'm like way excited about it though. This is awesome. He got this crazy 50-watt laser engraving machine. And it's awesome. The scroll work, it's limitless with this thing. You could do anything you want with it. I love the scroll work. I think it's cool. I've got some like collectible Colts that have stuff like this on there, you know, and they're kind of like, I call them money guns because they're like an asset gun, you know, they improve in value. But this is a Glock 19. It'd be a cool, like everybody knows Glock, everybody knows the word Glock, you know. So yeah, he's going to start with this, and then we'll run from here and we'll keep going. But
yeah, well, we're doing it. It's because you wanted the deep engraved scroll work,
Yes.
so that way we can show detail that I have like a kind of a black background on it, and then we'll hand polish it, and that way the scroll, the leaves will kind of pop, will stand out. But we'll be offering that very soon. That for sale.
and more like it.
Yes.
I'd pour you some beer, Jimmy, but I'm milking it.
Yes, I am milking it. You got me buzzed last
Giving a
time.
CPR over there.
Yes. Real quick, where I was talking about the deep crowns on the barrels.
Yes.
It does help. One, it trues. There you go. It trues the end of the muzzle. It trues the rifling, so that way all the gases and the round comes out at the exact same time. You got to think. Yeah, a lot of times people say, "Well, why do you have to do it? It's already perfect when it comes from the factory." Well, that's not true. You got to think of mass production, tooling, all that stuff. There could be one side off versus the other. So I usually do it with all my builds. I will do a deep crown on it unless the customer specifies not to, which has never actually happened. They all love it. Matter of fact, I think your first deep crown I did, it was quite a while ago.
It's
too.
a Kimber, man. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
And that you were talking about improved the accuracy on that too.
It does, yeah. And if you like, when you look at accuracy on a pistol compared to a rifle, so look, most muzzles that come off of a rifle are crowned. They have some type of crowning. It's either, like you said, it's a shallow or a deep crowning, and then the end of the barrel, or basically where the hole of the barrel where the projectile comes out, depending on how much of that is the crowning, is going to affect your vibration of your projectile. So everything in life has a vibration, right? And when you get into explosive natures, it's a higher yield of vibration. So as that projectile heads down range, basically it's like, bang, you know what happens? There's a little bit of a barrel whip, no matter what barrel it is, even if it's a pistol, all right? The projectile comes out and it instantly starts to vibrate. Okay, so that crown is what funnels the gases around it and that energy around it to fly straighter. And that's going to really, really make a big difference when you get further down range. So in a pistol, like 25 yards is pretty far with a pistol. Normally we're shooting, I mean, our qualifications for CCWs don't surpass 5 yards. We're really close to the target. When you get down to like 25 yards, you can notice a difference at rapid firing, and it's most of it's shooter error. But if you bench that gun and you get that firearm with that proper vibration, so that bullet is vibrating less and those harmonics are less further down range, it's a huge effect. And that's where I think this crown, like when you did that one for me on my Kimber, we did a lot of stuff on that sucker. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I've had it for a long time. I've got thousands of rounds through that thing. But it's a big improvement. It's a big help. I mean, you still need to hone your own skill set, because that's the most important thing with a pistol, especially. But yeah, it really helps.
It does help. I mean, when it's steel, like, does protect it. God forbid you drop it, it lands on muzzle in. It does protect the rifling, and also, I mean, to me, when it's all said and done, it's flush cut towards the end of the slide, or you can do the bull barrel, which this one is, which it looks really sharp, or the barrel bushing. I mean, it's sexy. It looks nice.
It does. Yeah. Aesthetics are a big thing with pistols too. Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, that's a quick blurb on it. You'll hear a lot of people that are so-called experts that aren't, that talk about it and say that it's bad, and it's not. It's not.
How long? Okay. How do you do the crown?
Well, there's a couple different ways to do it. Like I've had people, like the one video that I put up on the Freedom Custom Firearms YouTube one, where I crowned, or there's a couple actually videos where I was crowning them on the lathe. I've had a few customers or watchers type me and ask, is there a way that I can do that without the lathe? Because usually what I first started on is I did it by hand.
As far as like when you say you did it by hand, you're not taking a piece of sandpaper and getting in there, right?
No.
You're taking a tool.
Yes.
And that tool would be a reaming tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It actually, Brownell sells it. They have,
I was going to say,
Facer.
Midway has them. Yep.
Yep. Which is a 90 degree. And then they have like the 45 degree, which that's the one that I use. And it's almost like it has like a tap handle on it and a brass pilot that goes down, and they have one for each caliber. 45, 9, all that stuff. So that way the pilot will go inside and make sure that it's not tilted one way or the other. So that way you're not off. Then you're defeating the purpose of when you're cutting muzzle.
How long does it take you to do it by hand?
It takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while because you're removing.
So the preferred method is by lathe.
Yes, it's quick.
And the lathe, the process of having, so not everybody's going to have a lathe in their garage, whatever, and you can get them like. Balancing them is one thing. So if you get them on Craigslist, if you get them on the used, most of really good lathes are out there that are used. Machine shops are upgrading. They're doing CNCs or whatever. You can get them. We've got a couple back there. I got one from my old machine shop instructor, Jeff Weaver. Shout out to Jeff Weaver if you're watching this. Love you, buddy. So he hooked me up. He had an affiliate of his in Modesto that was kind of getting older and just not doing it anymore. So I got a really cool Logan, old school, 1940s or 50s.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's really cool, man. Yeah. And then Bill Ballard, we love Bill Ballard. He came in here, made sure that it was right, got it set up, and we use it for smaller parts. And then we have a Grizzly that we got. And I don't remember who introduced me.
It was Weaver.
Was it Jeff?
Yeah. It was weird. We had to go to the guy's house.
Yeah, that's right. We went out in Modesto.
Yeah, it's a bigger
one, so we had it. Yeah. And that guy, all he was using it for was gunsmithing. He had a life like 30 years with that lathe, and he was making
just one thing.
Caster. Yeah,
it was just one thing.
He was doing like caster molds on it. He had a lot of cool tooling and everything else. We got it. He was a smoker, and so Jimmy and I get there to get it. We take my trailer and we go to get it, and we're in his garage. He's like, the whole time he's smoking, and every time a cigarette goes out, he takes a brand new cigarette and lights it with his old cigarette. So it's like that dude on his wake-in plane is just never without a lit cigarette. Yeah, dude, we get that lathe in here, and Brickendo helped us with his crane. Love you, Joe. Thank you for that. Because it was really heavy. So Joe's got this ag equipment and everything, and he helped us out. And we wheel it in here, and we're noticing as we're like moving, and we're like, what's the sticky stuff on there?
Yeah, and it was yellow.
And we took, what do we use to clean it, man? Arsenal?
No, we used some acetone.
Acetone, yeah. So we used acetone.
Dude, yes, it was
cake. It was
on there. It took forever.
Yes.
2 days.
Yeah, to get that thing clean. And it was so crazy because we thought that it was like a yellowish kind of older industrial color.
Yeah.
We used that acetone and the simple green and got it off. It's like
thing's white.
this bright green, dude.
Yeah.
Was like a bright
It's like,
metallic.
that's where we go. Oh, it's a grizzly.
Dude, the paint still looked good.
Yeah.
It still looks good.
Because it was preserved with all the tar.
Preserved,
Yeah.
exactly. So we had Ballard come out. Just make sure that it's balanced and it's on, because those things are precision machines, man. And he did, man. He does an awesome job.
It'll
And
wobble big time if it's not.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. And then Jimmy got on that thing, man, and started doing those crowns with that. And that is probably the most accurate, right?
Yeah.
That method.
Yeah. I mean, you with by hand you can get it accurate too. It just takes you forever. Yeah, it takes a long time. But that's where when people say, I want to try it myself, how do I do it? And I just tell them, well, you can get, you can buy this at Brownells, and you just go slow, cut a little bit, take it out, clean it off. Look, just keep checking your work. Don't just go, because once you take it off, you can't put it back on.
But if somebody has a 1911 or another gun and they want to take it into you, you can crown it for them, right?
Yeah.
You can put it on that lathe, chuck it up, get it done. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big advantage. It's like you said, man, it looks sexy. Our firearms they're ornamental to us as well. We love, it's like everything that we have, whatever the item is, you want it to look good. You want it to be different than the next person's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does help the operation. Yeah. What else, man? You want to go ahead?
Well, no, I mean, I just, like you were saying, I mean, I do on the builds, I go with three things: reliability.
But
Okay. Reliability, flawless functioning, precision, and looks. And make sure it has those three legs right there.
I like that, man. That's good. Stability.
That's what sells. So
With Pete Plus,
Okay.
have you seen law enforcement enforcing SB2?
Yes. So the question is, have we seen law enforcement enforcing SB2 in pertaining to CCWs? This is, hey, you're carrying your firearm in a sensitive area where you're not supposed to be. The answer is no. I don't have any information on that. I'm really excited to kind of talk to Philip a little bit about that more. Maybe even Jeff on that, and see statistically in our county. Mike and I only have 3 customers that I can remember that have stories of even being confronted by law enforcement with being pulled over in their CCW carriers. And then they had an incident that, when they described it to us, we thought, okay, maybe they were treated unfairly or whatever. One of them, the worst, who I haven't seen in a while, and I hope he's doing good, Mr. Guido Zito.
Guido,
Yeah, I love him to death. He's a great guy. He goes into the city of San Francisco with his CCW and gets pulled over. Now, you have to understand, this was a long time ago. This was pre-COVID, okay? He's a very respectable member of society. He's an incredible human being. If you met this guy, you'd want to take him out to dinner and listen to his stories of the motherland and all that. The guy, Italian was his first language, English was his second, and he's just an awesome guy. So he gets his CCW in California. He's out in San Francisco, gets pulled over by San Francisco PD. This is his story telling me. He, very compliant. Do you have any weapons in the car? Yeah, I got my CCW. Okay, could you step out of the car? Could you tell me where your CCW is? It's on my hip, They went ahead and they put him in cuffs. They acquired the weapon, and then they took him out of cuffs, and they cited him and released him with a property and evidence form because they took his gun. So they gave him instructions on how to get it back, and he did. He went and he got it back. Now, I know that there's some municipalities, San Francisco being the worst. Yeah, that's like that. Yeah, that are going to try and say, look, if we say it's a gun-free zone, we mean it. So whatever year this was, I know that Frisco did at one time try to make the entire city as, no, you can't have a gun and we're not going to offer a CCW, but they got struck down by the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit actually told them, no, you guys can't do that. You need to offer these rights to your citizenry. So it may have been during that time. As far as any other stories, I don't know of them, man. I don't know of anybody like me and Mike always talk to people, they're spirit of the law and their letter of the law, right? Forget about the CCW thing. You get pulled over for speeding, all right? And you're compliant and you're nice, you're apologetic. Hey, here's all my license, registration, insurance, everything else, I'm sorry, man, I'm guilty of it, this and that, Okay, cool. The cop either gives you a cite or he doesn't, okay? Because he says, hey, man, you know what? I really appreciate you making my job a little bit easier. Thanks for being compliant, this and that. So with CCW, okay, it's a concealed carry. You're not supposed to let the public know that you're carrying it. If that's the case and you're being an outstanding citizen, why would you have law enforcement interaction at all, right? It would have to be a matter of, I need to brandish this thing because I'm worried for my safety or something like that, So there's that, okay? And then on top of that, if you get let's say everybody's worried about getting pulled over. So I know that I can lead foot every now and then. If you talk to Jimmy, he says I drive like a grandma or something, because I'm slow. Okay. And he lead foots, whatever, it doesn't matter. But nobody can really operate under the entirety perfectly of the laws. And that's why we're going to have AI drivers here in a little while. But anyway, right now, while we're all actually pushing the brake and the gas pedal, you can't be perfect, That being said, if you're trying to be, I haven't been pulled over in so long. When's the last time you got pulled over? Yeah, I know, knock on wood. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time for me, so I can't see everybody else not being like me, if you get pulled over, you get pulled over. Say what you got to say. I don't think that cops in general agree with SB2 and their regulations. I think if you are on a public roadway and you've got your CCW and you get pulled over and you let them know, hey, is there any weapons in the vehicle? And they ask you, yeah, I got my CCW, here it is. And, I've got it on my person. Okay. This thing that just came out from the sheriff's office said that it is enforceable. In other words, that the law enforcement officers that pull you over have the right to enforce the misdemeanor or the regulation or whatever. I hope that doesn't occur because I know that our sheriff in this county disagrees with his citizenry that's willing to follow the law and be a good citizen. He disagrees with them getting their rights taken away from them.
I mean, that's also where it comes in, the letter and the spirit of it.
Yeah.
Well, you have the letter, you have the spirit, but you just never know you never know the officer's intent who's pulling you over, the political push for where you're at. So for SB2, all of the sheriffs in California, except for one, were staunchly against SB2. So they were like, this is horrible. We want nothing to do with it. We're not, whether they're going to enforce it or not. I mean, they were very much against it. I venture to say that police chiefs are the same, but they didn't come out and say anything like that because the difference between obviously a sheriff is elected, so once elected, they kind of have their own ability to say what
fired.
Yeah, can't really get fired. Where
official, exactly.
A police chief he's at
appointed,
will.
yeah,
so he's at the will of the city council.
And if you have a council that all agrees with that at the same time, during the session,
you never know. So we tell folks, hey, just be smart. There's a good chance that that we would hope that law enforcement looks at it as a spirit of the law, but you just have to. And a lot of people ask this, say, well, so what if there's a shooting at a school, or if there's something going on at a place you're not allowed? Am I going to get in trouble if I, protect myself? And that's absolutely not. No, if there's a shooter at a school and someone wants to go in and stop the shooter, you're not going to be congratulated for stopping the shooter and then arrested because you took it into a school zone. That's not going to happen. It's just, again, the intent is to try to keep weapons out of areas that are sensitive. And, again, a lot of the places, I don't even find myself carrying in a lot of places outside of the new areres, like the restaurants and, a lot of the places, whether it's a courthouse or a government building or, schools or, we don't carry there anyway. It just got a little freaky when it started talking about you can't carry while you drive on the roadway. It has to be in a lock container.
Or even like dropping someone off at the airport. So the airport parking lot now is considered a sensitive area where, you're not even going into the building before you even get to TSA. You're literally dropping somebody off at the airport. So that's what I mean is like spirit.
Well, it's the parking lots of everywhere that's prohibited. It says, and the parking lots.
And the parking lots.
Crazy.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I mean.
So
It's
the
like
restaurant
the spirit
bar
of the law.
Yeah.
The restaurant parking lot as well. Yeah. It serves alcohol, man. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I have not heard of any. I'm always looking for those statistics, on how many people are getting pulled over. I love Manny, man. Manny got pulled over by TPD, Turlock PD, that one time, and they handled it fine, man. Manny, it was late at night. He didn't see anybody there, so he was trying to get to his job, and he went through this red light or something, and boom, here comes the red and blue lights behind him. He's like, oh crap, and he's a truck driver, so he goes to work way early and picks up stuff, at midnight, 1, 2 a.m. So of course they're like, what's this dude doing out here? Well, he's going to work, they don't know. And they're like, you got any weapons in the car? He's like, yeah, man, I got a CCW. And of course in the dark, that younger cop was like, oh shit, now I got a guy with a gun. Like, what do I do? So he handled it. He had a supervisor come out. The supervisor kind of straightened him out and was like, dude, the guy's cool. Don't worry about it, and hey, if that does happen, if you get pulled over, just be compliant. Like, hey man, I want to get through this just like you want to get through this. And you will, and they'll deal with it. But yeah, I haven't heard of anything. These couple of stories that I'm telling you are the only things I've heard of, and they were years ago. I haven't heard of any law enforcement interacting post SB2 or any type of statistics on arrests that are made, citations that are made, confiscations that are made. I haven't heard of any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Fred, we can't sit there and say for sure the data to the question of has anybody been affected negatively by SB2. But what we do know is we're now into the fourth month of 2025. This thing started in 2024.
It's already April 2025.
Right? Crazy. And we've had a lot of students come to our CCW classes since SB2 started and now. And not one person has given us a negative story where SB2 has affected them. Not one person has told us of a negative story that they've heard of somebody that's been affected by SB2.
Correct. Yeah.
So though we may not have the data, usually the word of mouth is the big thing. And if something was going on, or if there was a lot of enforcement on this particular, new law, I think we would have heard about it, and people would be talking about it. Yeah. But again, not one person has said anything negative. In fact, usually when we ask folks about their law enforcement contact, they'll usually say, oh yeah, I was honest. I told them that I was armed, and they were like, hey man, thanks a lot. And a lot of times the contact was positive. A lot of folks say, well, I didn't get a ticket. I was given a warning just because the law enforcement officer appreciated my honesty and that good relationship. So hopefully it continues that way, and we don't.
I think now is more of the what if fear kind of thing.
Yeah,
it is. Everybody's got that about everything, but as far as pertaining to the CCWs, man, I wouldn't be afraid. I would highly encourage everybody to keep getting it and practice the rules. And hey, I'm optimistic, man. I think 2026 is going to be good for the state of California.
Yeah. Same here.
That's what I'm saying. All right. We went over Freeman stuff. We went over some of the CCW stuff a lot. I want to go over Gunbroker real fast. Anthony and I have a lot of good stuff on Gunbroker, to include, I got to give a shout out because we're going to have one of our really good friends and associates, Mr. Grant Flory. He's turning 70
Oh, there you
billion. So I put on Gunbroker a little joke for him. Here it is. The CZ 452 in 17 HMR. This is a bolt action. This is a used rifle. You can see it on my Gunbroker. This is legal in all 50 states. This has a nice all-American made Leopold scope on it. It is currently on Gunbroker. And if you want to go to gunbroker.com, what do you have to do, Anthony?
I'll put a link in the description.
Okay, so he's going to put a link in the description on how you can get it. But yeah, it's a good little joke for Grant. Grant and I have this note we've been passing back and forth. He's about to be 70, man, coming up here on the 8th. So we want to wish him a happy birthday. But we like to mess with our friends. So
Happy birthday, Grant.
Happy birthday, Grant. If
You old man.
if you want to bid on this gun that he wants so badly and give him some competition, you're more than welcome to on Gunbroker. And I also have
That'd be good.
awesome classic. Actually, that fall.
He's cussing you out. Watching this.
Yeah. This is awesome, man. I'm a huge Ruger M77 fan. They basically have a Mauser action, man. They're just freaking awesome. So this guy was discontinued. They started making a different version of this. It is a M77 Hawkeye, but this one I think got discontinued in like 2003. So it was made from 95, 96 until 2003. Heavy tapered barrel. This is in 22-250. This one also is used. It has a nice scope on it for long range varmint hunting and target shooting. This one is wood. Oh yeah, it's a good piece of laminate wood on there. It's heavy, it's stout. It's an awesome gun. This can be found right now. It is on bids. We put it up for a penny bid. So you can go to our Gunbroker. Anthony can put a link in there. And you can bid on this gun. And this one I think has like a week left, maybe a week and a half left. 1997 classic, awesome firearm right here. So put that back over here. Okay, I want to thank the series Tap Out for the dinner that we did last Saturday, a week ago today. Anthony and I were over there, and everybody that wanted to get a free cleaning kit went and got one, and they liked and they subscribed to our YouTube channel because we're just now starting this thing out. So we're kind of like a nothing game right now, but we're trying to be a something game. So you too can come into the shop and you can capitalize off this. And we have them in different calibers. We have a limited run. I think we have like 30 or 50 of each. Sorry guys, the 9mm is already out. So we have 22 long rifle. We have 40 cal. We got 30 caliber rifle, which is a little secret. If you have a 9mm, you could use the 30 cal as a 9mm because it is 30 cal as 9mm. Yeah. We've got 22 long rifle, 308, and 12 gauge. And as they run out, we'll only offer the ones that are left over. But yeah, if you like and subscribe to this channel, come in the shop with your phone and get that done. We'll give you a free cleaning kit. Other than that, what am I missing?
I think it's.
When we talk about some of the guns that are great for CCW.
Oh, perfect. Let me talk about some awesome guns for CCW. All right. So I will, I'm old school. I always get crap. I was just at the sheriff's office this week, and my boy Steve was telling me, like, are you going to, kind of get into the future and everything? And I'm like, no, you can't make me get into the future. So I've got Smith & Wesson 160. That's my little CCW packing gun. I have bought some modern stuff because I own a gun store and I have all kinds of guns that I don't use. But this is my little carry gun. It's a little heavy for a carry gun. It shoots 357. I don't usually shoot 357 from it. The sheriff's department quals with Hornady 38 Special Plus P, which out of a snub nose 2-inch revolver is a lot like a 357. I mean, you're not going to get the kinetic energy out of a little snub nose revolver. So I shoot the 38 Plus P because I qual with that at the sheriff's office when I do that. This is a great one. Smith & Wesson also makes an airweight, which will also shoot the Plus P out of it, and it's a lot lighter than my Model 60. But there's a lot of good stuff on the market right now, including for California. And California's got the drop test. I think last time we talked about that a little bit. So yeah, that's the Hellcat. I think, is that the Pro or is that the?
Yeah, that's the Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
The new P365.
P365, that's the Rose edition. SIG is doing a great job. They are releasing all kinds of stuff for California. Mike has the Hellcat at the 2023 SHOT Show. I think he saw it and he's like, I just have to have that. So we're like, okay, cool. So I told my rep, we got him the Hellcat, and it's freaking awesome. That thing is rad. Do you just have a red dot on it, or are you iron sights?
I have an iron sights, but it's got the cutout, so
Okay.
it's all set, ready. All I have to do is just.
And that one comes with the package
Yeah, it's
too.
like this one where it's cut out, ready to go.
Yeah. So most of the Sig Sauers,
Yeah.
most of the stuff today, and I told people like 2 years ago, we go see my middle son every year out of state. So my wife and I travel, and we go to these other state gun stores just to go in there and say hi, And the red dots now, they're just regular. Like every gun has a red dot now. It's like even revolvers are starting to come out with red dots. That's just the way of the future.
Yeah, capable. Yeah.
If you're like a dinosaur like me that's just been practicing with a front sight my whole life, for decades, I want to do some more training with red dots, CCW guns. If you get used to a red dot, which I'm not used to them yet, obviously, I'm still carrying around some old maybe 5-shot wheel gun. But if you get used to them, they're really fast to acquire in your sights. Also, if you wear glasses like this, and you're getting a little older, the red dot is a little easier to pick up than, trying to concentrate on that front sight. But they're most of them are coming with them. Springfield's making a lot of good stuff. We don't have Glock with MOS capabilities or with red dot capabilities, other than getting it modified by a Smith like Jimmy or something that can put it in the mill and do that. And the reason being is because Glock is not going to conform to California's regulations. So they're going to say, we'll sell you our standard firearms, but we're not going to do any magazine disconnect, and we're not doing a loaded indicator chamber, and we're not going to pay your extortion fee. And Glock can do that when you're the most sold firearm on earth. Other than that, everybody else is. They want that California dollar. Yeah. They want you to buy it. So, yeah. And I want to say with all the kits and stuff that we're giving away, I want to buy your love for this channel and everything, because when you guys come in here and you spend money in my shop, you're buying my love. So, we really love you guys. Anthony, can you think of anything else? You think that's good? All right, we're going to finish our beer, think about dinner plans here in a little bit, and thanks for episode 2, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yes.
Thanks, Last Call.
Thank you.
Yep.
Delicious.
Awesome. All right.
But we got.